Stop what you're doing and come here. Sit down. There. I want to talk to you. I was watching you just now, going about your chores, and I began thinking of how I'm both pleased and proud of how much you changed, and that it was time I told you so. Shh! Don't interrupt. When I first brought here, you fought so hard against your new life, against me. You were a lot of trouble. More than once I thought perhaps I should simply devour your blood and dispose of your carcass. Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, yes, you were troublesome. But through all that, also you had intelligence. More than ever. It had been my intent to acquire someone intelligent, but I learned since then that I got better than I hoped for. Don't let that go to your head. You knew you were smart to begin with, didn't you? And smugness never looks pretty. Then never let that become part of your character. Good. To continue my train of thought, servants I have before but seldom were they worthy of entrusting with more than simple tasks. If they ever had any intelligence or creativity, someone had smashed it by breaking them to their new life. Or more likely, they were simply taken from the human population because they had no real talents and were dim-witted and easily programmed. After those disappointments, I chose to live without servants, alone. No, I enjoy being by myself. Most vampires do. I did too, for a long time. The memory of those past disappointments kept me thinking I was much better off alone. What changed my mind? I don't have an answer for that. At least, no one I will feel comfortable taking about now. No need to be sorry for asking. I always try to answer your questions, satisfy your curiosity. One day I will tell you about it. I promise. Yes, you have learned to be patient. Or perhaps that was always in you. Whenever you knew it would eventually earn its reward. For now, I only say that, for reasons of my own, I decided that I wanted company again. But what I wanted was far from the mediocre competence my kind sells for. I wanted someone with intelligence, not spoiled by heavy-handed conditioning. It was impossible to repair another easily acquired but crippled creature. I will have to do the selection and training myself. So I went hunting for a wild human. Yes, you were dirty, but also you were wild. By wild, I mean a human from outside my community. It's not an insult. It wasn't as easy as hunting for a feeding. I couldn't simply take the first one I could find. I had to observe and compare among what I found, and chose what traits I would place the most value on. No, you didn't look like much at first, but you were orphaned. That was an intentionally chosen parameter and a plus. And you were miserable, living in a trash can. Well then, what is a dumpster except an overgrown trash can? Right, a big trash can. Imagine how much longer you might have fought me if your previous life had been safe and pleasant. There were several I observed before you, but you seem to be the most miserable and angry. You don't see how anger was a plus? No, perhaps not, since you didn't see the other candidates. Some of those were angry too, but they were simply angry. They didn't have a better life. Your anger. When I listened to you, it was different. Anger for not having an opportunity to prove yourself instead of merely being cold or hungry. I heard an angry desire to prove yourself. I heard ambition. That seemed to me to be the right stuff to try to work with. Yes, I decided to give you your opportunity, but you couldn't understand. You even thought you wanted to escape me and return to that misery. Well, you didn't really know what I intend to do to you, did you? And you were afraid to believe anything I told you. Not unwise of you, of course. After all, you're learning that what I am. You knew death was a possibility, and you wanted to live. In spite of all life have dumped up to you, you wanted to live. I know, you couldn't understand the situation. I had anticipated that. But you even thought it was possible to resist me. But that was merely ignorance. What you didn't know was how I could bend your mind and broken you in your sleep. And no human can resist sleeping forever. I could have done that to you. You almost seem to want that. To be willing to be crushed before you give an inch. But I would chose to win you softly. I knew what the other methods resulted. The only question was whether you let me, and whether you willing chose to stay with me. It took time, yes, it did. I knew my task wouldn't be easy or quick, but it was the only way you could remain your own self with your memories and feelings intact. A real human being, instead of a frightening shadow of one. So, I was prepared to take the time and the patience with you. I thought then that I would be much more interesting pet that way. Yes, a pet. You didn't know you were going to be just a pet. You see, my perfect pet, my fantasy, was a human who submitted to me and stayed with me freely. Someone I would keep alive and care for and share many happy years. Someone bright and alert. Someone I would find interesting. Someone who might even find me interesting. That was the original plan, but as I said before, I got more than I expected. Hmm, hmm. More than I expected. Because you're not just a pet. Pets are amusing company, but you're proven to be more than just that. Much more. You see how I've been putting things into your hands? Giving you responsibilities? Right. Why would I do that for a pet? There, see? I won't insult you by calling you my pet. Unless you want me to. As an endearment. Shh, don't interrupt. This is difficult enough for me to get through. Vampires don't usually praise their we don't have you are trustworthy and you are competent. You might have noticed how after you've been given a new task, I rarely inspect your performance. You show me I don't have to. But I have been watching you closely, nevertheless. I've given you a rope, as they say, to allow you to hang yourself if you intended to break me. Shh, you don't need to protest. I already know where your loyalty lies now. The word that was hard to find, you see? Vampires don't usually get a praise a companion, a friend. That's why I hadn't told you before, now, of how proud I am to you. I should have. Do you understand? Yes, I know the sun will rise shortly and I will retire. Don't worry about me, although I like it that you do. But before you sleep, I must tell you something else. That I'm making some changes. This is the other reason I wanted to talk to you. For one, this time you'll not be shut away in your room while I sleep. You can go there if you like, of course. Or you can do whatever tasks you think need doing instead. That's right, you'll be on your own to watch over the household and over me. This will be your first time with so much responsibility. Although there's likely to be little to do except the observe when I'm wakeful. Daytime is your natural environment. It should be quite easy. And then I shall protect you, as I have always done, for that is my natural environment. Just manage things as though I were awake, or as if the household was your own. Call for the authorities if a threat should appear outside, but of course they cannot under any circumstance be allowed to enter while asleep. Now, why haven't you asked the best question? Whether you'll be locked inside or whether you can get outdoors if you wanted, The answer, dear, is that it will be possible for you to run. Although you know I'll find you before you saw another sunrise. If you did. But I know you now. There's nothing out there that calls to you anymore. Thank you for saying that. Yes, this is your home. I know you realize the significance of this new arrangement. I am placing a great deal more trust in you. For a long time now, I give you, as they say, a long leash. Now I am taking the leash off. You've been a fine servant this far. You come to mean more to me than any pet or servant ever could. Now I want you to be my friend. Perhaps even more in time. Wouldn't like that. So don't disappoint me, okay? It will break my heart to have to kill you. After all this.